be a little bit more conversational. Meeting for the very first time, please put down new on the bottom. Let me know if you are interviewing for level 6 or above position at Amazon or whatever company of your choice. My name is Holly Lee. I'm a career coach. I came from a background of, I call myself a former FANG employee. So I work for all of the big companies in the last 20 years, and I am extremely passionate to come on here and put everyone out of your house and back in the workforce if you have been affected by the pandemic. If you're not, awesome, but I wanted to guide you through the company of your dream. And not just that, but also the same role. Hi, Michael. Hi, Shupi, Neela, John, Avita. I love it. Wow, my 8 a.m. stream has almost a whole, like 90% whole new audience. Yes, new to your live. Yay. So I come on Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard. Everything's in Pacific Standard. 100% of my audience shows up. Every now and then I'll get a Google, but 99% of the time it's all Amazon. If you're interested in that, don't miss it. The cool thing about my live stream like this is generally every single week, there's at least 5 to 6 people who will jump on to make an announcement that they landed a job offer. Okay. That's how powerful it is coming here every single week. So let's get dive right onto the biggest thing that's in my mind right now. As I mentioned a little bit a second ago, I've worked with a group of amazing senior people. I know that one of you guys are watching me right now. Maybe you are watching because there's quite a few of you, but you're not. There's 23 of you in the back office. Good morning, everybody. I'm here because I want to help you with your interview nerve, okay? And for those of you who follow me on my Tuesday stream or are in my coaching community on Patreon, you know I love the STAR method. I typically get a very good debate in the very beginning. This is probably my 8th webinars now, and I do this every single week, right? I will end up proving my customers wrong from the moment they start working with me or step foot in my coaching community, okay? The number one reason that people are anxious, there's 2 things, right? One, they are prepared. They just really want the job or really want it to work for that company. And they know that their friends or someone whom have interviewed even multiple times and don't get the job. Okay. But the common theme is that they're not prepared. They're even more anxious, or I should say you are even more anxious when you invest so much time prepping for your interview. And it gets worse when your interview date gets closer. Why? Because you have to be satisfied with the stories that you create. So I'm so excited to run live webinars, guys. Last night, I spent the entire day of 10 hours and I was working on a deck and I actually launched my first true webinar. If you missed that, go to my LinkedIn profile. I just put a link there actually earlier today, this morning. That is specifically talking about the STAR interviewed at Amazon. It's not just for Amazon, but I want to use how powerful STAR is. Amazon did not create STAR, nor did I. I saw the formula that works for recruiting leaders at the time, or leaders like myself, who we write a lot of proposal and project at Amazon. And a lot of the method is using STAR. So with that said, rather than teaching you how to interview the traditional way, I wanted to teach you simple solution to create your story where it makes sense. Because if it doesn't make sense, the interviewer would probably, they can't flip their screen off, but they will lose interest and you won't be able to re-interview for the following year. And let's say that you've done it and this is your 3rd time. I mean, 3rd strike, I don't want to say you're out, but pretty much, okay? Now, during the pandemic, or the better terminology is recession, there are more and more companies right now. I don't know if you guys follow the news, leaders, all of you guys out there. When I say leaders, I don't mean directors, C-level executive. I mean everyone that's truly senior and above, okay? There's even level 5 management position at companies like Amazon and basically all of the FANG company, okay? And the biggest reason why I want to stream at 8 o'clock in the morning, aside from having my alone time that my son is sleeping, the light in Seattle is no joke, guys. It could be 50-degree or extremely dark at 8 o'clock in the morning, or the sun is shining at me where I have no other option to stream. Basically, I can't stream. So here's why I do what I do. So I want to take a moment. I want to look at who will spend the time to come here. I think 8:30 works perfectly for East Coast, and also everybody in Europe. Okay, that's why I'm doing this for you guys. Hi, Yoish. Hello. I love seeing my VIP Patreon community here. Hi, Anu. If you guys are here, and I know that quite a few of you are in the background right now, I can see the number of people joining peacefully. I want you all to know that when it comes to YouTube, if you don't feel comfortable using your real name, jumping to my live stream, you could always make something up. I mean, 90% of you guys, your name is not even who you are, okay? Because I get confused sometimes. Every now and then you see a bunch of similar nicknames in here. So feel free to create a Gmail account so you can join me live, because the benefit of coming on here multiple times a week is because I actually still get hundreds of messages from all of you guys. All of you guys who's jumping on right now, you're not the only person who have reached out to me. And I don't want to be rude and say, hey, I don't have time to, basically, I don't have any bandwidth. A lot of you even wrote me a page, give me your resume, give me a link to all the questions that you have. That is what my Patreon community is for, okay? So I'll leave everything in the link in the description later on, so that would be my community. But I want to get to know you. Tell me more about you. Where are you coming in? Where are you watching from? Because there's a lot of names that I'm not familiar with this morning. Hi. It works. Yay. I know it better works. The thing about live streaming is really truly having the right gear, which I do. But I think that sometimes I'm so excited to just come on here and support you guys. I just never seem to remember pressing the audio button. What can you do, right? Hi, Neela from India. Yes, I'm doing this for you as well. Coming in here early with my coffee. Look, my mug is from Portugal. A little dirty here with coffee. But I also collect Starbucks mugs. Not so much anymore because I haven't been able to travel in the last few years. But yeah, diversity is really the key, especially in a larger environment where diverse decisions should be appreciative, right? Some of the questions you guys can ask me, aside from Interviewed and Amazon, please do feel free to ask me about Amazon, Google, Facebook, even Microsoft. I've actually started my career in 2008 as a contractor or a consultant with Microsoft. Is so long ago that I don't even want to, I don't think I put it on my resume. And I too was affected from the pandemic. I'm sorry, it's not the pandemic, it was a recession. I think that was one of the worst recession of my life. It was 2009. I know that a lot of you know what I'm talking about, especially in Silicon Valley. If you're in recruiting, you can't hold a job for more than a month to 2 months max, and you'll just keep on getting laid off. So I know, even though I work for myself now, I know how it feels to be affected by the recessions. Even if I'm not, I know how it feels to feel extremely stuck in an environment that you just really want to roll out of bed. Okay. And I just told you guys that I went to bed at 5:30 this morning and got up at 8 on the dot to be here. I didn't have time to even play my introduction music. I made a comment on my Tuesday stream. If I don't play music the first, I'm sorry, not the first 5 minutes prior to a stream, that means that I am really rushing to get here, and my coffee is much more important. But this is just an example, guys. If you want to get a job, even if I'm streaming at 5 o'clock in the morning, if I could be here, so should you. Okay? You have to really be able to work hard and get there and take every single resources, take advantage of it, especially free resources like this. Okay? Hello, everyone, the 30 plus people who's watching. If you are excited for me to answer your question, give me a thumbs up, okay? It really helps out my channel. Google loves to see engagement, which is why, as much as I would love to edit every single live stream for the first few minutes of the audio issues, I can't. I care more about relationship and I care more about engagement, okay? Wow, Frankfurt. Awesome. I love it. I have Germany, I have UK, I have Switzerland in here. I love, see, my Friday stream is built for my international audience. I love it. Hey, Uming. Uming says, I seen your videos before, but chatting for the first time, we can hear you now. Can you please talk about data science positions at Amazon? Sure. I'll talk a little bit about data science. If you haven't seen it yet, I actually have a live stream almost all about data science. Okay, so data science is two things. One, are you a PhD scientist? Are you a researcher? Or are you a researcher? Do you focus on applications? Or do you focus on development? What kind of researcher or what kind of data scientist are you? Can you be a little bit more specific so I can provide the right example, okay? For instance, and this is not just for Amazon, at Amazon or other companies in general, most of the data science come with some level of artificial intelligence or AI and machine learning experience, right? If you guys, all of you guys are struggling of what type of technical questions, I have quite a few people who reach out to me and say, Holly, you talk a lot about behavioral questions. What about technical questions? What courses can I take? Where would I know the exact technical questions to ask? Well, let me give you guys a big tip. Look at that job description, look at the preferred qualification, look at the basic requirement, look at the body of, especially at Amazon. It will tell you exactly what language you'll be coding in. It absolutely does, okay? Another thing is it will tell you the technical environment very, very well. That's the one thing I love about the Amazon job description. If anything, it is like a whole library of your scope, and they mean it. You probably are going to do 100% on top of whatever that, I call them JD, says. Okay? But I can tell you this, data science or not, 70% and sometimes 80% of your interview questions will be behavioral based. Okay? That's why, my friend, you really need to know the leadership principle well. Okay? Why? Even if you start coding on the whiteboard, well, when I say whiteboard, I mean virtual whiteboard now, right? Use the STAR methods. One, what is the problem you're solving for? Okay. Why are you solving this problem? You got to ask yourself that. Okay. And what are your solution? When you're solving a problem and coming up with a solution on the technical space, it could be systems design or coding, algorithm or data structure, so on and so forth. Ask yourself, what is the end result that you want to see? The biggest difference between using the STAR method in answering technical questions versus behavioral questions, you have to set up the content, the situation right off the bat. If it doesn't make sense, for instance, if you don't tell me, if your examples sound very leadership, and you don't even mention that you were a people manager in that role, or what was the scope of the project. Give me something to work with, and then tell me what problem are you trying to solve, and what is your plan? What is your action plan, right? And what was the end result? That's the biggest difference between non-tech interview questions, and I call them behavioral questions, versus technical, where you have to work backward, okay? Before you even write out your example, what is the result that you wanted to get at? Because the interviewer already handed you the problem. You just need to be able to solve them. Okay? So that's a difference between behavioral questions using STAR versus technical questions using STAR. Okay? And if you guys haven't seen my LinkedIn post on my webinar that will be coming out next Wednesday, I am going to work until my face fall off on my keyboard. And I say that with a lot of love. I'm trying to put together a presentation, and don't worry, if you sign up for my webinar, there's no catch. I'm not It's free. Okay. I mean, I've been doing this live stream for almost a year now, and I do show up at least once a week, every single week. Hence why the Amazon Leadership Principle playlist is formed. They're all live stream, guys. None of it is pre-recorded, which is why you see a lot of and I can't get rid of it. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Make sure you sign up for the webinar so I can answer your questions specifically based on the slide or topic that I'm talking about, making sure that you get the most value out of that. Okay. For these live session, generally I'll provide the one thing, the biggest struggle from the people I'm working with, which is right now creating their stories and having interview anxiety. Okay. To be unbiased to you guys, rather than job interviewing, because I don't interview for any employer right now, and this is my own business. But prior to the pandemic, I do interview to land a gig with startups or pre-IPO company to use my services as a career coach or leadership recruiter, so on and so forth, right? And I'm cool with that. But because I live stream a lot more now, every time I switch on the camera, hence why the audio often is shut off and then back on again. I get anxiety. I'm really nervous coming on here, believe it or not. I know my content. Most people will have notes on the side and whatnot. I like to come in as authentic as possible because that allows me to build relationship and engage with you. Okay. I don't follow things to a T or follow things at all because I want to be able to answer your question that's relevant. That is why I am the way that I am. So if I have to relate myself to you having interview anxiety, I feel you. It's nerve-wracking live streaming every week and now doing it so more often. But you know what, guys? I'm pushing myself to do it so I can be eventually more calm. So I'm not going to tell you that even if you have the best story in the world, you may never feel that your story is good enough. And that's okay. You need to ask yourself, okay, number one, do you have at least 10 stories? If you don't have at least 10 stories, it's probably not a good idea. Number two, I mentioned on a lot of my Amazon Leadership Principle that you need to have 2 to 3 examples for each and every leadership principle. Guess what, guys? Depending on what you put in your answer, you're already meeting the leadership principle 50 to 80% of the time anyway. So rather than being stressed out and creating 28, that's 14 times 2, right? 14 leadership principle, and being so stressed out, why don't you guys focus on 10 great things on the commonly asked interview questions? And the thing is, I already have all of those questions listed out for you. It's on my Amazon Leadership playlist. Some of you don't know what playlist means. It's very simple. I feel like I'm cooking and giving you a recipe. If you go to the link that you guys have just joined, which is my YouTube channel, if you click on playlist, I am organizing everything for you. Anything that has the word interview on there, watch it. Okay. Especially anything that has the word Amazon on there. The reason why I talk so much about Amazon, not because I want to, I'm not selling Amazon, by the way. They're not sponsoring me. I just really love the interview expectation. Okay. Let me explain. As mentioned earlier, I have helped multiple pre-IPO startup early on this year, even last year, as I launched my business. And guess what? A lot of the core value and behavioral questions are exactly the same thing as Amazon. I also recently came from another FANG company, and guess what? They have a philosophy or so-called leadership principle. It's called moving fast. At Amazon, they call it bias for action, right? Instead of saying customer centric, Amazon call it customer obsession. You guys get what I'm trying to say here. So that's why I preach about the Amazon leadership principle so much, guys, because I genuinely wanted to give you every single thing. There's no hidden agenda here. The way that I'm coaching you guys is the exact same way with my executive clients, my premier clients, my VIP coaching and my Patreon. Is the same thing. The only thing is that it's a little bit more intimate because we're actually seeing each other over via Zoom, right? And we do this every single week with a small group of people where they can also collaborate. Okay, that is the only difference. So All the questions are already there, and I want you to start doing your homework and then come back and tell me you don't have your story. Hey, Mark, I still haven't heard from my recruiter who originally contacted me unsolicited. Well, that's great. That means your LinkedIn profile is awesome. About the actual posting and I'm being considered for, what should I do? Well, Mark, I know that you are a brilliant man. You should definitely follow up with your recruiter. It could be a number of things, right? Your recruiter could be bombarded. I've made that mistake before early on in my career where I've reached out to hundreds of people every single week, and eventually I will lose sight of one or two of them. So that does happen. I like to give it good intent here. I would follow up with my recruiter. I don't know if you have already done that, Mark. Follow up with him or her with a message just to let you know that you're really excited to learn more about the opportunity. When is a good time to connect? I'm laughing. I mean, for a recruiter to have their job, you need to accept the offer. Okay. It doesn't matter how good a recruiter is, how many positions they have filled. If you're watching me and you're in the talent acquisition space, please, guys, I don't know if it's the pandemic or something is in the water, what it is, but I have never in my career received so many negative feedback. As mentioned, I'm very raw and authentic, and that's why I'm attracting a certain amount of audience coming to me, okay? You need to get back to your customers. It doesn't matter. I know you're overwhelmed, recruiters, maybe hiring manager as well. You need to put yourself in the candidate's perspective, okay? All these people and all of you guys who are interviewing on Amazon or whatever company you're interviewing for, I know for a fact that a lot of you have great experiences. How do I know this? I've helped leaders at Microsoft, at Apple, and even at Amazon itself. Okay. I know. So a lot of people, even if they're not affected by the pandemic, they just want to switch jobs. So if they're interested in your company, you need to be able to get back to people. Okay. The power of I can't talk. Mouth to mouth or word to, I can't talk. Maybe I need more coffee here, guys. You need to be able to make sure that you are leaving a positive impression so that the senior professional whom you reach out to doesn't go back to his or her friends or colleagues. Everyone know each other in the same industry, okay? And basically give that feedback where no one want to interview for that specific team, okay? Recruiters, it's been a bit hardening to hear so many different feedback. In fact, I pinged a couple of my bar racer friends at Amazon yesterday and give them some of the feedback, such as, if you're going to turn off the video while you're interviewing a candidate, I think it only fair for them to also turn off their video, because if not, I think it's pretty common that when we're communicating with the other person, or I actually, let me take that back. I don't see how that's a common theme. If I'm talking to you right now and my screen is black and there's nothing in front of me, it will be awkward for me to like this, stare at the camera and not even sure if you can see me, okay? So when the candidate is interviewing for a job, it's really important for the other person to reciprocate. That's the one thing that's missing right now. That's the one thing that I'm hearing over and over again. I know. I'm preaching to the recruiter at the moment. You welcome, everybody. So I would absolutely follow up. And another biggest tip is, guys, when you're following up and you don't hear back from the recruiter, check out my video on how to connect with the recruiter and hiring manager. That video was released 2 weeks ago. I'm showing you exactly how to reach out to your recruiter and follow up. I'm also showing you the exact template, word by word, how to communicate so they would respond to you. Okay. You just have to show up differently in the recruiter's inbox because they are bombarded right now. I mean, I've been through recessions, but I've never been through a recessions where, in 2008, 2009, I thought that was the worst I've ever experienced. Also, at the time, I was mid-level senior in my career. And the only people who were able to keep their positions were Google, Amazon, Apple, and some companies that are pretty profitable, right? All the consultants are laid off for all of the company, but right now with coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic, Amazon seems like the main employer that's hiring. That's probably why a lot of you guys are here. Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Mark. If you have anything else, you know where to find me. Hey, RC, excuse me. Let me have a sip of coffee here before I continue. Oh, I love your question, RC. RC says, what level is a principal advisor and a business development manager, BDM? That is an excellent question. A principal advisor or any kind of principal is an individual contributor, which means you will have no direct report, and that's a level 7. A level 7 at Amazon is equivalent to a VP in other big company as far as the scope. I know that because I've done it before, okay? And if you are working for a mid-sized startup or so, you would be a senior VP at the very least, or even a CTO if you're in tech, okay? A level 7 is very hard to get at Amazon. If you compare Amazon's interview process with other FAANG companies, it's probably the easiest because Amazon is truly looking for people who could do the job and who are productive, period. Okay. If you can do the job, if you can answer the questions with relevant experience, why wouldn't they want to hire you? Versus other organizations where they immediately they wanted to see if you're smart, hire you, and then figure out what they want to do with you. Okay. So it's two different style. A BDM or business development manager is it sounds like a level 6. Sometimes it could be a level 5 as well. The reason why I make that statement is if you have the word senior in front of business development manager, which is also an IC position, right? That would be a level 6. By just looking at the title you just gave me, it could be a 5 or a 6. But if you are a 5 or a 6, unless you are a principal, okay? They're evaluating you for what you can bring on the table, and your offer and your leveling depends on how well you guys do in the whole process. So to be honest, unless you're interviewing for a level 7, like senior management position and whatnot, which is a 7 and above, then absolutely you need to be coached appropriately, because the bar raiser and your future peer who'll be interviewing for you is pretty high level, okay? And the type of questions you need to answer, you have to stay large scale. Your scope need to expand globally. So the verbiage may change a lot, okay? So hope that answers your question, RC. Hey, Leonardo. Wow, you're showing up early. I love it. Hey, Arfin. Hi, Shubhi. Quite a few people from India. What time is it in India right now? Hi, John from Michigan. I know the sun, it was really weird. Yesterday, we went from mid 50 to 80 degree, like literally a couple hours apart. When I do this live stream, I think I'm going to stick to extremely early, like now, or really, really late in the evening. Either way, it's going to hit. I just wanted to come on in a time where I'm hitting all the different geography, right? So other folks are not going to miss out on it. This is based on your LinkedIn feedback, by the way, guys. Hey, Avita, how are you from South Carolina, East Coast? I know, see? I know a lot of you East Coast will be here. Anu, and of course I still have RC on here. Anu says, I'm from East Coast. I have 12 years in IT and did my master in business analytics, and now looking for opportunities in data analytics. You know, the data analytics or data position is still pretty high right now. Why? Because if anyone is handling with any kind of traffic, it is the most traffic right now versus any other time. Okay, let me know how it goes if you have landed an interview with Amazon or other companies. All right. Hey, Varun. I know that you reached out to me on LinkedIn. I saw a message popping in. So this is how my LinkedIn response work. I usually don't have time to read my messages, and I probably do it on the weekends or one days to max a whole week. So if you guys need to get in touch with me, the best way to find me is here. I come on live twice a week now, guys. If you're in my Patreon community, I do a private stream for them on a Wednesday, and that's unlisted. So I'm allowing people to be themselves freely and ask whatever questions that they want and not have to worry about listing it. Okay, that's patreon.com/HollyLee. Hi, Luca from Italy. Already 4 times interviewed, one loop for precision with continuous improvement. Sounds like a number of people are interviewing for ACEs, especially in the Europe area. My stories, I think, are pretty stellar, but probably too long. Question number 1, how do you know your question is stellar? Number 2, how do you know your question is too long? And number 3, I have mentioned this every week, guys, every single week. Have you guys started recording yourself by, let's just say, your cell phone? Okay. Have you repeated your questions and recorded yourself at least 20 different times, at least bare minimum? Okay. If your answer is no, then how do you know if your story is good and you have the relevant background? Because you haven't even heard yourself. Okay. I think it is more powerful to record yourself and hear it and putting yourself as a third person evaluating you than doing it with your significant other or your friend. You do that, save that for last. And I will choose someone that has similar experience or more senior than you. Okay. I know that a lot of you guys have friends already at Amazon. Leverage those people because they know what the bar is. Okay. Again, you have to turn on the record button. You guys are not even coming on with your camera. I'm simply asking you to press record on your phone. Okay. And that's how you know if you sound relevant to the position. Okay. Good morning, Nomad. Thank you. Canada. Uming. Hi, Uming. Well, you're welcome. I completed my PhD aerospace engineering. I have been working with large set of experimental data for my PhD. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. You know, Amazon has so much different things that's going on right now, and they're still acquiring company, guys. It's crazy. Yes, during the pandemic, I think for a lot of the Amazon products and services, they're still continuing to grow. Okay. If you have really strong or solid experience, how do you know you have this? You compare your experience to the job description. Okay. And when you have that, that's how you know you can land a job interviewed. If you haven't landed a job interviewed or the recruiter is not connecting with you, you may want to check out my Power of LinkedIn playlist. If you don't know what I'm talking about, playlist, watch this video from the first 15 minutes. I have guided you exactly how to get there, okay? Specifically on a video on how you stand out with your LinkedIn profile, okay? That gets the recruiter's attention. Now, remember, right now, they are so bombarded with referrals, with applicants and all of that, and you want to stay on top of all of it. In general, if I have to say, the number of hire based off of referral is extremely low, okay? For example, at Google back in the days, I believe it was 15%. At Amazon, I also believe it's about 11 to 15%. And again, this is about 3 years ago, okay? I don't think that I shouldn't make that bold statement, but I would be surprised if organizations are hiring through referrals more than 20%. Okay. So let's just say that 80% of the time they are sourcing for you. They're looking for you because recruiters love to hunt. Well, correction. A good recruiter would love to hunt because they don't have time to go through, I'm assuming, 500,000 at least applicants. So why waste your time and go over all of that? They will never get to you if you applied, right? So many of you have asked me, how should I apply for a job and whatnot? Well, don't apply to a job. Network. Okay. Hey, Tai Wu, thank you so much for the $27.99 super chat. Appreciate you for being here this morning. And if you want me to answer your questions top, I usually will go with my Patreon community because I recognize them, or super sticker or super chat. You don't have to buy me a cup of coffee. If you do, greatly appreciate it. Okay. Peer character dancing under a rain. You're amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. You guys being here this morning, keeping me company while I'm putting some work in is already a great thing. Okay. Let's see here. Who else have some great questions for me? Mike from East Coast. Past 2 interviewed and prepping for the next week for a marketing role in EU. EU is on fire, guys. I've heard a lot of UK and Italy in the house. When I think about EU, it's a lot in that geography. Well, good luck. Best of luck to you. Send me a message on LinkedIn, Mike, and let me know how it goes. Just so that everyone is I know that a bunch of you just joined. If you missed the beginning, let me give you guys an example. We are on Friday right now. I'm so excited to share this with you. Just this week alone, in combination of my mock interview coaching, all of that information is in my Patreon, and combination of you guys jumping on like this in my weekly stream. Guess how many people have landing a job offer? And if you come back on Tuesday, half of them are going to show up to tell you that, because I can't make a bold statement with the high number and not back it up, right? On Tuesday, this past Tuesday, 6 people show up to tell me that they've landed a job offer. Half of those are in my coaching community. By last night, I haven't even gone through my email, to be honest. There are 16 of you guys who ended up with a job offer, and 16 of you got a job offer from Amazon. It is amazing. Okay. I'm shocked, because those are, it's not because my strategy, yes, my strategy works, but my strategies won't work for you if you're not willing to put in the hard work. There are majority of people, and let me go ahead and politely call you guys out. Majority of you, when you reach out to me, you have to put yourself in the other person's perspective. There's no one, no business owner, no coach, or even you, whatever position you're in. If I reach out to you and you have by now probably 500 different messages, would you stop everything you do and spend an hour to research and prep that person to pass their job? Right? So I get a lot of that. That's called laziness, guys. Okay. I want you to show up to my live stream, and I am happy to prep you to get that job for you. But you need to also show me your dedication and your willingness to do this. It's not even for me, it's for you guys. Okay. So I'm getting a lot of that, but the folks who comes on, my gosh, I was bombarded this week, and this is the most. An average is usually about 6 to 8 a week, but this week, for some reason, there's 16 of you guys. So thank you for sharing those news with me. Okay. Anu says, I do not even get to the first step. I've run my resume through multiple edits, have used experts to help, and I make the tailor based on my JD, but no luck. Well, let me tell you this. I'm not bashing resume writer or expert or anything like that. So number one, let me challenge you a little bit here, because I wanted you to make sure that you are putting your investment in the right place. Okay. When you're using an expert to help, and all of you guys, I'm asking you silly questions right now, because a lot of my customer who came to me had already used multiple coaches. Number one, is the individual writing your resume for you to match the job description, or you doing it yourself? Number two, here's a big thing, guys. Listen up, okay? Do not ever hire a resume writer. Do not go cheap and pay $100. Again, feedback from my customers, right? Use a service where, you put your resume in a system. I don't even know if there's a human that looks at your resume, and it will send you back a resume like within an hour or so. Listen, I have a branding services that I don't advertise on my business page, and it takes my soul away. It takes me, at the bare minimum, an hour and a half just to look at the credential, because a good coach should understand where you're coming from before even coaching you, right? And the goal of branding and resume writing per se is that you see the result right away, that you will land a job interview. Recruiters are going to bombard you. That is the effect of having someone to critique your resume and guiding you exactly what you should be writing. So if you were to look for a career coach and whatnot, do not, and let me repeat myself again, do not hire a resume writer where someone is doing it all for you. Okay? How are you going to pass a job interview? They don't even know your environment. I think that's enough said. I've just seen a lot of that go wrong. I have to give you my 2 cents. Hey, Uming says, I've been through your leadership principle video. I really appreciate the information you provide. Oh, you're welcome. Let me know how it goes with your interview. Varun says, I've passed 2 telephone interviews and preparing for the final stage, which will be scheduled soon. Well, how are you feeling right now, Varun? I will take a look at your message this weekend and get back to you. My apologies. I just haven't had a moment to. And Tawul, if you have a questions or any other questions, thank you for the super sticker. Make sure you drop them, okay? I'll be sure to answer them before this is over. Shivam says, how much part was behavioral in telephone interview? In all of the interview with individual, majority of the time is 70 to 80% behavioral question, okay? I'm just being very authentic here. If you are a software engineer, then probably at the very bare minimal, you have to be able to solve the problem. You have to be able to code, okay? Even so, there's still going to be a lot of behavioral questions. However, it's always depending on the interviewer, all right? The bottom line is the whole purpose of a phone screen is to not waste your time or their time, any employer, to make sure that you have the fundamental to pass the interview at least 70% of the time, okay? Once you demonstrate that, that is when employer are opening up and spending half a day with you to interview you. So that's really the whole purpose of the phone interview, all right? Hey, Mike. I have 20 stories created. Wow. I don't think I've met anyone that's 20 stories. That's pretty awesome. But nervous since the recruiter told me there's a change that might bring down the level. Not to worry about the salary, but the leveling. And this is about the leveling. Let's spend a quick moment here. Again, don't worry too much about the leveling. Worry about acing it, okay? Having a lot of story is a good thing, but I would go back to your 20 story and look at which one are the higher level scale. Meaning, if I ask you, give me an example or walk me through the most innovative thing you've done. Do not tell me the most innovative you've done was to fix a bug in the system. That's what an intern can do, okay? This is what I mean by high level. Say something like how you were able to solve a problem and able to influence all the different office location globally, like that, okay? So that's the difference between the two. It's awesome to have a lot of story because in the end, you want to be able to pick the top 10 out of 20. And if you were to give example, give those top 10 first. And if you're running out of story, then you use the additional one, okay? That's a pro tip for you. And don't be nervous. You guys are all focusing on a lot of the wrong thing, okay? There has not been a day by where I don't get asked, should I ask the recruiter who the bar racer is? No. Why? Because your job is to impress everyone who interview you, including the recruiter, okay? From the moment they reach out to you, you're being evaluated. Yeah. And even with whatever conversation you have with anyone there, Amazon or not, it's in the system. So why are you guys so focused on the BR? Okay. I make that statement because I've read some of the messages, even in my Patreon community, where again, these are people that have a lot of experiences. You know, no one, I don't have any intern or new grad or junior folks. Okay. That's why when you're asking questions like that, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Forget about who the interviewer is. Forget about how many interviewers. Forget about the leveling. Just focus on your story. Focus on you. Your story is equivalent to who you are. Okay? If you don't have that branding, you're done. It doesn't matter. Hi, Mike. So you are interviewing for Facebook? What is your question? Neelov says, all the best. All the best to you, Varan. And Shivam says, I'm on for 3rd round telephone again. If you're interviewing for a phone screen more than once, that means that there are things that you have not answered the first 2 times, okay? So if you are invited to come back to the 2nd round or 3rd round, you got to be able to push the recruiter to give you some kind of feedback so you know what to focus. I would be surprised. Actually, I'm not surprised anymore. Based on the feedback that I'm gathering from a lot of the folks I've worked with closely, you need to leverage the recruiter and see what that person can do to prep you for the next round so you're not making the same mistake, okay? And for those of you who you don't even have an actual conversation with the recruiter or of anything, how do you know what to prep for the next round? Sure, they'll tell you the questions or maybe a leadership principle, but that's a loaded question. How do you know what to focus so you're not wasting your time? Okay, so make sure you seek to understand to prep yourself. And if you show up to my live webinar with a whole PowerPoint presentation over Zoom, by the way, it will not be on YouTube. It will be a private webinar. The seat is limited. The video will be off like this, but you could see the entire presentation over Zoom. And after you've registered, there will be a link. Okay, that will be next Wednesday. Go check that out. All the information is on my LinkedIn. If we have not connected yet, I'm the only Holly Lee as a career coach. Can you believe that? Or even in recruiting. The series of virtual rounds. How you prep for the virtual rounds or the panel interview, the final interview, however we want to get fancy with it, and how you prep for the phone interview, even especially at a leadership position, there's no difference. Okay? The only difference is that if you're interviewing for a principal role or an executive position, the interviewer obviously are higher level, right? That's really the main thing that differentiate you. Again, the leadership principle is going to save your life. If you guys haven't already, you can look at any of my stream. There's a link by David Anderson, a GM who is still at Amazon, and he's pretty famous at Amazon. I remember crossing path with him. I highly doubt he remembers me. He's been at Amazon for forever. Okay, he wrote an article and he did it so well to talk about each individual leadership principle and also tell you what the expectation is from a bar racer who's been there for like decades. Okay, why wouldn't you want to read that? A lot of my customers who actually read that and incorporate their writing style of answering by using the STAR method actually worked. Okay. That and if you have no clue what I'm talking about as a STAR method, go check out that I have a video for everything I talk about. They're all on my YouTube page, okay? Hi, Andid. Good seeing you again. Hey, Eon001. I felt interviewed and was told to reapply a year later. That's correct. But 6 months later, I applied for a different position that I was qualified for. Was this a mistake? I want to be blacklisted. I'm used to recruiters ghosting me. Microsoft did this to me twice. Listen, if someone is ghosting you, why do you keep on applying for a position in the same company? Guys, I need you to stop applying for jobs right now and look at me in the eyes and start listening, okay? You need to seriously go look at my video from 2 weeks ago and how to connect with the recruiter and the hiring managers. Why are you guys applying for a position that you have failed? Especially with the same position title. Any company, this is not just Amazon, okay? If somebody is making a statement that you're not qualified and reapply in a year, that means that the feedback is not strong and you don't meet the qualification, okay? That's what it means. If you meet the qualification for at least 80% with the overall interview feedback, then the recruiter would have worked really hard to find a home for you within the company. Why? Because the recruiter is relying for you to accept the offer in order for them to keep the job. Okay, that's why. So it's very powerful, guys. Don't waste your effort. You know what? You guys just need to show up to my webinar next Wednesday. So you can see a visual of what I mean. And I think I'm going to do a graph of what I mean by focusing in all the wrong thing. Okay? There is hope, but you need to figure out where the gap is. And you need to check out my previous stream on Amazon Interview Tips Live Q&A. There's hyperlink to all of the questions. And I talked a lot of how do you know what part of the interview did you fail? Okay. You will know if you're struggling answering a question, you pretty much know that you didn't get the job, right? If you do and you still don't feel confident, that's a good thing. That means your bar is higher than your thoughts. Okay. So make sure you do that because a lot of the questions I can guarantee you guys, you can find in there as well, especially for data science. Could you also elaborate on the level for marketing role? And I just mentioned to not think and dive so deep in marketing, Mina, because marketing engineers, product managers, TPM, it doesn't matter what position it is, guys. It's all types of level. Just like in any environment, they need a diverse level to build a team, right? If you look at if you read the job description and if you truly have the experience that are required for the role, you kind of know if it's senior or mid-level, and the recruiter generally will let you know. Okay. But the bottom line is, even if you have 10 years of experience, that doesn't make you a senior marketing specialist or manager. It's all about the work that you've done. What are you bringing on the table? All right. Plungeable. Plungeable says, I felt a software, a solution architect, which is SA, phone interview 3 years ago. What happened? That's cool, Neat Blue. I think I'm going to come on every Friday at 8:30 now, because it is about, what time is it now? So it's about, you guys are 10 hours ahead of me, so that's pretty cool. Okay. Hello from UK. Hi, Carolina. Is regular to have a first interview with the broad director on Amazon for a paid media position. That's a good sign. That means that your credential must be pretty amazing for them to have an executive to jump on to speak with you. That means they're very excited. It's a good thing. It's not very often. It's a good thing that a brand director would want to get to know you up front. Hello, Brazil Leonardo. Hi, Christina. I was initially referred to Amazon 3 months ago. If I apply directly on Amazon's career site now, will I be considered an internal referral or external? It will be external, okay? If you applied outside, it will be external, but your external and internal or referral will be merged anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Whether you're referral, you could even be an internal employee at Amazon. You still have to go through the on-site loop, okay? 6 p.m. in Spain. That's cool. Great job. Awesome. Ian001 says, I've started recording. You see that? If you guys are excited about my live webinars every single week, give me a star. Give me an emoji star. I love star. It motivates me to pump up more energy for you. I don't know if it's a good thing for me to integrate a full cup of coffee on top of this, but give me some star, give me some thumbs up. I know that there's still quite a few of you that's watching right now and haven't input any questions. If you are and you're enjoying this, you like this, you're going to come back every single week, give me a thumbs up, help a girl out with my YouTube algorithm and my engagement, okay? So YouTube doesn't think that there's only 22 of you that's actually asking question. Hey, Shravan, how are you? Shravan says, Shravan from Tokyo. Good to see you in JP-friendly time zone. I know, I love this. I wanted to thank you so much for your content. Oh, you got an offer of joining Amazon Japan as a senior manager. Yay! My button. Yay! Thank you so much for waking me up and sharing this great news for you. I know, I remember us corresponding and with some questions. Cool, awesome, congratulations to you. Anuja says, when is the best time to apply for Amazon if you are graduating in December? I have no experience with non-industry, new grad or intern, but I guarantee that everything that you wanted to know, you need to be able to do a quick search on Google, and I guarantee you will find an answer, okay? I just don't want to give you the wrong thing because my customers, generally, they're not intern either, so I get a lot of senior to executives that are coming to me, okay? But yeah, Google.com and Glassdoor will tell you everything you want to know, specifically new grad and intern. Hi, Evita. Interviewing for HRBP, by the way, just this week alone, I have helped 3 HRBP land a job at Amazon. I think in total, there's about 6 of them since the pandemic, okay? So you really do want to rewatch my live stream, Evita, because there's a lot of tips on there for HRBP. And if you need additional help in creating your stories and whatnot, that's what my mock interviewed weekly coaching is for. Anu says, You're right. I took help in structuring and polishing the resume and not write it from scratch. Can you give your thoughts why I may not be going through the first step? I mean, that's a hard question to answer, right? The only thing is having a story is one thing, but do you have a relevant story is a second thing. Okay. So you need to ask yourself, this is what I mean. If you have hit the record button, and if I'm pretty sure that some of you, even if you don't remember word by word, you know the type of question that's being asked in your interview, right? And hit record now. How did you answer that? Okay. Would you hire yourself? Would that be a relevant answer? Okay. So after you hit record and you listen to yourself, you're most likely going to fill in the blanks and fill in the gap. Okay. Hi, Taiwu. Thank you so much for the star. Yes. Namdi. Hi. Star. Are there any more star? That's it? That's all the star I'm getting today? I need to make sure that I am waking up a lot of my international audience. Generally, on my Tuesday stream, there's at least 300 to 400 that's watching. Roughly, usually it's around 50 to 60 people who's asking questions, which is fine. I just wanted to spend, you guys are taking easy on me. That's amazing. It is my first time doing a morning stream. So I'm happy to be here every Friday, same time, same place, international folks. One last questions before I go. Okay. And that is from Christina. Why have some positions been open for 6 to 8 months? Is it even worth applying? Yes, it is. Positions are opening because they have a lot of headcounts, meaning they have a budget to build the team with multiple people. So even if, let's just say they have opening for 10 people, and of course they have filled some of those, right? Why close an opportunity and not leave the position open? Okay, that's why. Like I said, John, if possible, and guys, we're still in the pandemic, which means majority of Americans are affected by the pandemic. They're laid off. Try not to apply to a job directly and take a look at my networking tips and how to reach out to the hiring manager or someone in the hiring authority or the recruiter. Okay. I guarantee I'm giving this to you guys. This is part of my networking portion in my career masterclass, which is, by the way, guys, if you're really struggling and you're not getting anywhere at all, my career masterclass has 100% success rate, and I'm not joking. Okay, so I'm giving you the same content, and you need to really just do that work. Okay, Neela, my friend, you snuck in just when I'm about to say goodbye. Have a great weekend. I have a great tech enterprise sales leadership experience with companies like IBM, SAP, but no direct cloud experience. How do I get noticed by AWS? By what you have accomplished and what you have done. Your LinkedIn profile is the first thing that will get their attention, not your resume. Because if they look at your resume and you don't have the cloud experience, they're going to pass. Your resume, it's just a high level version. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, take a look at my LinkedIn profile as an example of the template, right? You need to make it stand out with the relevant scope of that environment. Okay. I'm helping right now with customer who didn't even have an ounce of cloud experience, even technical experience for that matter. They're in manufacturing background, construction industry, seriously, all walks of life. And there are a lot of people who landed a job offer with no ounce of experience with even a tech company. Okay. So it is possible. And I personally have hired people with zero experience as well, industry experience I'm referring to. Okay. So with that said, happy Friday. I know I should have done this in the very beginning, but I am not. I appreciate all of you guys, beautiful human being, for being here with me this morning. And I will look forward into coming back with all of you international folks next Friday. Okay. Enjoy your weekend and the rest of your Friday. Have a great one. Bye.